Hey, it's the first live of 2025. I've been thinking about my New Year's resolutions, and I know we're all talking about, it's the new year, new you, right? That's what everyone says, right? And I don't want to discount that because there's a lot of power behind having having landmarks, having growth points. So I don't want to discount the whole thing, but I know when it gets to the point where we're hearing it from everywhere, that's kind of the thing in for New Year's, right? Is new year, new you. So when we hear it all the time and we're hearing it from all these different angles, it kind of starts to become background noise and we don't really think about what it means anymore. So what I wanted to talk about today for the first week in 2025, we're almost a week in. How are those New Year's resolutions coming? No, I'm just messing with you. But I want to talk about something that can really make those New Year's resolutions real and actually realize what those can turn into. And I call it, well, it's called the compound effect. So basically, there's actually a guy called Darren Hardy that wrote a book called The Compound Effect. He talks about this. Really good book, by the way. Another person that talks about the compound effect is James Clear in his book Atomic Habits. So both of those guys talk about the power of compounding. And basically what it means is when you improve on something, then that adds to the overall percentage. And then when you improve another percentage, then it takes that and it improves it even more. So, for example, one of the examples that you use, and one of the things I use in my life all the time, is the concept of being 1% better each day. And I know better is kind of a vague term, but basically it just means try to have 1% improvement, whatever it is in your life, whether it's health, whether it's finances, whether it's in your business, whether it's personal growth, personal development, spirituality, whatever that is in your life. If you can commit to being 1% better each day, then what it does is it adds that percentage to you tomorrow, right? Or for that day. And then tomorrow you actually have a bigger pool, if you will, of goodness or potential. Let's say potential, right? That's a good word. So you have a bigger pool of potential to actually compound off of that. So, and the other thing, real quick, the other thing that's really great about this concept of being 1% better every day is it makes it really difficult to come up with any practical or really reasonable excuses to not be. So you can say, I'm busy, I've got these calls to make, I got to take the kids to school, I got to whatever it is, right? We're all busy, right? And I know you have your own set of things that you have to get done. We all have things that we've got to get done. But if I told you, can you commit to being 1% better each day? 1%. What I mean, that's you can barely even feel 1%. Am I right? So if you can commit to that, here's the crazy thing that happens. So in about a week, you get about 7.5% better. Now, that's not to discourage you, but but even 7% better is great, right? In about 6 months, you get 6 times better. Okay. So you've come from this point and you're already 600 times. So 600%, sorry, not 600 times, 600%. So 6 times better than you were at the beginning of the year. But here's where the true power of compounding comes into effect. After 365 days, so after one full year, the math comes out to roughly 38 times better than when you started. So if you can commit to being 1% better each time, each day. Hey, Tanya, great to have you here. We're talking about the compound effect. So if you can really commit to being 1% better each day, then that compounds over the course of obviously your whole life. But let's just say over the course of 1 year, and you can become 38 times better in the course of a year. I did this in my own life when it comes to, I've done this in a lot of different areas, but especially when it comes to my health and my exercise. So I decided, I don't know if it comes out to 1%, but let's say it comes out to 1%. So what I committed to do is I picked a number. So I'm not going to say the number because I don't want, these people are going to say, oh, I do so much better. And this person's going to feel bad. But let's just say you pick a number of an exercise. And I think I've shared this before, but basically, let's say push-ups, right? Let's say you start with 10 push-ups. And every single day you do 10 push-ups. And then on Monday, this is what I did in my life. You could do it one more every day. But what I did is every Monday I added another push-up. And so then it doesn't feel like you're doing that much more. But over the course of, I think the last 9 months or so, I have exponentially compounded the effect, and my stamina and my endurance is way more than it used to be, but it wasn't there when I started. Obviously, none of us start there. So when you start with something small and you decide to get 1% better each time, then it compounds off of what you had before. Tanya says, when I try to do push-ups, it looks more like laying on the floor, waiting for someone to come pick me up. We all have to start somewhere. My push-ups when I first started years ago looked like girl push-ups. So, I probably shouldn't say that. They looked like the beginner push-ups. I'll put it that way. So this works in every area of our life. It can work, like I said, I did it with my exercise and my health. My wife and I have done it with our dieting. So you get just a little bit better. We all get we kind of get stuck in this mindset of I've got to make these huge changes. I've got to make really sweeping things that just completely change my life overnight. And as great and as amazing as that sounds, it's just not practical because it doesn't stick. The real changes and the real success that comes in our life, whether it's finances, whether it's relationships, whether it's health, whether it's personal development, whether it's spirituality, whether it's our relationship with our creator, whatever it is, it comes in small increments. And when you push yourself just a little bit more each time, it gets better over time. And then you can look back over the course of everything you've done and you can look and say, wow, look at what I've accomplished. So what I want to encourage you to do is just pick one thing. Pick one thing to get 1% better each day and see how that compound effect can take you to levels that you never knew you had before. I did that. I also did that with journaling. So I know journaling is kind of one of those things where, I used to think that journaling was only for hopeless romantics or pining teenage girls. But when I realized the power of journaling and how you can actually compound off of your own thoughts and you actually start putting those thoughts down, then it becomes so much more powerful. Because when we try and keep all of our thoughts in our mind, then over time they just start to disappear. But when you write them down, you can actually compound off of your own ideas and then other ideas that you get from other books or other interactions. Another way that you can use this compound effect is reading every single day. And clickbait doesn't count as reading. Sorry. It has to be, something that really moves the needle in your life, something that really feeds your mind. So I really want to just encourage you to pick one thing in your life and commit to doing it 1% better every day. How hard is it to do 1%? I'm sorry, but don't give me the excuses of I'm too busy to do 1% better. We can all do 1% better and watch how that compounds throughout your life. Pick one thing. Thank you for being here. Thanks, Tanya, for showing up as always. And just think of the things that you can compound in your life. Keep growing and empowering those around you one mind at a time. Share, like, and subscribe. I'd love to hear anything that you're going to be doing to compound in your life, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's journaling or health or success related, whatever it is. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Until next time, and Happy New Year.